The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Senator, you've been in the middle of what's probably one of the more controversial issues in Louisiana and also throughout the nation. And you call it the constitutional, could you help me with that?
Well, constitutional protection bill, it's basically a measure that is designed to clarify what the qualifications are, what they should be, what the original founding fathers meant, and so in this session, because of the fact that this issue is something around the state here and around the country, and because of the fact that many of our constituents are just totally frustrated with having to deal with this day in and day out and continue to hear about it, they asked me if there's anything we can do to put a stop to it by just clarifying it here in Louisiana. So Representative Alan Seabaugh, who was sponsoring the bill, and I told him that I certainly would support it. It's all about just kind of making sure that people understood clearly that if they're going to run for president anytime in the future, Republican, Democrat, Independent, or whatever, that at least in Louisiana, the laws will be very clear as to the eligibility of a presidential candidate. Not any different, but more clear than what the Constitution of the United States says.
Now, obviously there have been criticisms coming from the left, from the right, from people like Crowe, who served with President Bush. And I'm just wondering, are you feeling any of those pressures from either side, or?
No, I'm not. My primary objective as a legislator is to respond to my constituents. Generally, I mean, almost every case, I agree with the majority of most of my constituents. In fact, in every case, I have to say I agree with them. And in some cases, there are some issues that need to that need clarification, that needs to be addressed, and it's not a matter of whether or not it's popular, it's a matter of whether or not it's right or wrong. And I think if we seek the truth, I mean, let's face it, this issue wouldn't even be an issue had it not been for the fact that our current president decided to exercise disclosed, or I should say, selective disclosure. I think if we're out there and put to bed 2-3 years ago, whatever it was, we wouldn't have to be wasting our time here in the legislature having to deal with this. I certainly didn't anticipate having to deal with this. I certainly don't really want to have to deal with it because we have many, many other pressing issues, beginning with a $1.6 billion deficit and many other issues that we have to deal with. But again, I have to respond to my constituents that have called, that have emailed, that have worked up about this issue, and so we have to go forward and address it, and hopefully it won't take up too much time.
One last question I have, and that is that I've heard and I've read that the president has already issued his birth certificate, live birth, and also there was newspaper clippings, newspaper reports showing that he was in fact born in Hawaii. Now, I haven't seen them, so I'm just wondering, are you aware of those? And if so, then what's your position on them?
Well, yes, I've read some of the newspaper clippings, and I've done some research as well, and there's a lot more research that still needs to be done. My understanding is that there was a certification of live birth, which I guess the question is that the same as a certificate of live birth? I also read the clippings where on the newspapers where it said that there was an original, say in the vault in Hawaii. Why can't why can't the president get a certified copy of the original? I don't know. I'm not really even worried about all of that. All I'm worried about is making sure that we as legislators here in Louisiana satisfy the needs of our constituents to address this issue for any time in the future. That this issue ever comes up again, we'll have something to fall back on. Right now, it's unclear. And it's unclear, and people are confused, and it's taking not only time here in our own legislature, it's also taking time in legislatures around the country, and for that matter, all around the country. It's an issue that's out there, it won't go away. And so maybe if we took this one small step here in Louisiana, at least as far as Louisiana is concerned, address this legislatively, then it'll be clear, and maybe the other states can follow, if they choose to do so.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.